good afternoon and welcome to this edition of Referee Corner here on IslandStats.com. I'm your host, Earl Basden, and I'm joined by none other than Mr. Peter Pendergrass. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm good.
I see. Well, as a FIFA technical instructor, how give us a little bit of insight on what it is you do in the world of officiating.
Okay, so the role of the instructor is to prepare referees from the member associations to have them get ready for the international level, which is the FIFA level. And then we go into the preparation of the referees for the different World Cups. So that's primarily the role of the FIFA instructor.
Okay. All right. Now, when the officials are, I guess, not sent to you, but you start getting information on officials, what are some of the things you're looking for, in their game that you can actually help to fine tune for them to progress?
Okay, so we say fitness is a passport. You have to have a good physical condition in order to be able to execute the needs as a good referee. But we look for the referee who has courage, not afraid to make big decisions. Even if the referee is not a runner, the ability to make big decisions. So courage. We look for football understanding in the not majoring in the smaller stuff. We would normally say not sweating the small stuff, but being able to deal with those things that are not acceptable, that can cause injury, for example. So those are some characteristics that we look for in a young referee.
Mm. Now you would have gotten your FIFA career underway in '94. How much of the game has changed in your eyes whilst you were officiating when you started and when you came to the end of you physically officiating? How much of the game had changed for you?
Uh, quite a bit, quite a bit. One, the game has become faster. Each year it has become faster. And the introduction of technology, namely VAR, is another tool that that the referees have now to assist in their decision making, which is a tool. It is not the deciding factor. But television, that is a big difference from back then.
Mm. Now you say courage because in order for someone to decide they want to officiate even a local match, it takes a lot of courage. And what made you want to put your hand up to do is at least start local matches, and then move on to the international scene?
Sure. From a personal standpoint, I was challenged by an assistant referee to become a referee because as a player I was very lippy, and I took the challenge, and here I am today. Uh, for the average person, usually you find persons that are not able to make the team, not very good players that want to contribute, becoming referees, but also persons who would like to see, who is not satisfied with what they're seeing and wants to make a difference.
Mm.
So those are different things that I think attract persons outside of the dollar value as just a means of surviving.
Right, right. So how did you deal with the people that were like you when you became an official?
Well, we have to understand the passion that exists in football from the spectators, from the players, and we referees are mediators. We have to work in between the raindrops in order to keep the game alive because the game is for the entertainment of spectators. And as such, the players need to understand that they're actors, but there are rules in the acting, right, for the show to go on. So you develop good interpersonal relationships with the players, and show respect, and respect will be will be returned.
Yeah, yeah. Now take us through your international career, because obviously when someone looks at a FIFA instructor, no matter what they are, you're the technical instructor, but they they like to know where one came from and what
Yes.
one has accomplished. You know, and it kind of gives them that even more sense of, okay, I need to pay attention to this person because they've been through everything I'm trying to get to.
Okay. Well, I was a regular guy playing football for my school, playing on the streets, playing for my school. I played club football at the Premier League level. Then I ended up playing for the under 20 national team in Jamaica. Moved from playing, starting having kids, and needed to contribute just the same. Decided that after that challenge of becoming a referee, to start refereeing. Started locally, got really interested in it. It helped to keep a level and clean lifestyle because it is healthy to keep fit. And I moved through the ranks of CONCACAF. I've done all major tournaments in CONCACAF and major tournaments for FIFA across the world. And then after retiring, I became a FIFA referees instructor, and with the same mission of trying to help persons to be the best that they can be. So it's really has been an exciting time and a lot of experiences shared, a lot of countries that I've been to that football has taken me to that I would probably never have would have gone to these countries. So you know there are so much benefit, so many new friends that you meet across the world. It is a healthy lifestyle to get involved with.
I was going to ask you about that, the improvement of officials across the CONCACAF region. How has that been an impact on the game in our region? Because we've now seen an influx of so many different country people getting involved in the officiating side. And if you look at that FIFA list, there's quite a bit in the CONCACAF region.
Absolutely. Through the member associations, and I have to commend the Bermuda FA for the programs that you guys have been doing, spending the FIFA money on refereeing as it is supposed to. I don't think of another country that does as much to expose and create the opportunities for referees have as you have done there in Bermuda. So congrats to the BFA on this for sure. But the member associations have a duty to prepare referees, not have referees as a bastard child, because what normally happens is that the games are organized and they say, oh, we need a referee by the way. No, a little better planning, little family planning has to go on to determine as part of the family. So as a result of the training that the member associations have been exposed, then we have persons coming out of the countries into the FIFA ranks, and hopefully we'll get to the different level of World Cups, male and female.
Yeah, I think you got your hand on your microphone. Are you holding the bottom of the phone? Are you
I
there?
beg your pardon. Did I miss something there? Yeah, I think
No, 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 no. It's the volume is in and out. I just thought you had your finger
okay.
over the microphone, but not to worry.
I might have.
Yeah,
Okay.
but so we've seen this big thing, and I know you talk about member association duties and so forth, but looking at how when you started, was there as many around the region of across the region of CONCACAF of officials that you kind of learned from as you grew in the international side of things?
There were actually. Um, when I got involved, there were some really good guys to emulate back then. Um, Over time, however, I've also noticed that the persons who are getting involved, the dynamics have changed a little bit as the requirements get uh, more rigorous, especially with the fitness side of things,
Hmm.
right? It's a constant struggle to keep fit in the modern day.
Yes.
So many distractions, with the internet and the rest of it, virtual stuff. Then came COVID, so it's a little bit different now than it was then. I would say.
Mm. Now, on the technical side, it's a lot of showing of I guess showing officials the different things, video of sorts and so forth. But how much of it is actually physically showing them how to improve, or if they made a mistake or if they made a good call, just trying to make sure that they understand what call was made, when it was made, and how it was made.
Ideally, from a personal standpoint, I have specialized my instructions on field work.
Mm.
That I mean, ask around and they'll tell you that I am the guy for the field.
No, okay.
I go into creating drills specific for referees training. For we Sometimes there are stuff that happens in a game, and we have to recreate the situation to show what could have been done differently at what
Hmm.
point. A lot of it has to do with positioning and movement and timing, running style. These are very small details that make a big difference. So the on-field training is an integral part of the learning. The
Mm.
videos are important as the evidence, okay, showing the end results oftentimes, okay. So um, the on-field training is an integral part of the success of any referee. Doing
Yes,
it,
yeah,
learn by doing.
yeah. Right. Because there's a lot of people that learn by doing it as opposed to sitting around and trying to,
Absolutely.
yeah, the attention span. But okay, so as the technical person, how much joy do you get out of just fulfilling that for someone? Because I'm pretty sure you get a lot of phone calls or you get a lot of messages asking questions from officials, for improvement. So how much of a joy do you get to help in helping them to improve?
It's a lifeline. Trust me, it's like a lifeline. There's no greater joy than being able to help your brother man. And
Mm,
when I say brother man, of course, the females are part of that program, right? So just to know that you have made a difference to help someone to help them to be the best that they can be. And
mm,
what is important though is that they have to be willing to accept. So
yes.
we have four A's that I always refer to. First A is to accept. Second A is to analyze. The third A is to take an action based on what you have analyzed. And the fourth A is to apply that action. So first you have to be willing to accept I made a mistake.
Right.
Let's find out why. How
Hmm.
can we fix it and then apply this? So, you know, um, I help you if you want help. If you don't want help, I can't help you. That's as straight as it is.
And throughout your career, when you were officiating, did you have that kind of guidance, or who was the person you relied on the most to not be your biggest critic, but also to give you that reassurance that, okay, yeah, you made a mistake, but you can get better at doing it this way? Who was that person?
Um, there were a number of guys around, some that have died, but I was the hardest critic of myself because I knew when I did something wrong,
Mm,
right? But I was always open to listen. Okay, the the piece that is important is that you can hear a lot of things, but then now you have to decide what makes sense and what doesn't make sense, and how does that
mhm,
affect you and impact you. That is important. So you, the individual, is a big part of your own success,
mm,
right?
mm.
Because
Yeah.
you're in your own shoes. No one else is.
It's so true, so true. Now, when you would have been coming to the end of your career, You obviously, clearly, you said you wanted to stay involved somehow, some way. So, what was some of the things you've done to take up the opportunity to get into the match official, match refereeing and all, and then onto this technical committee, onto the technical director?
Well, when I was coming during my time as a referee, I was always very curious. All right, asking questions, why this, why not this? Because being a player for a number of years, I was a little bit torn between being a player and being a referee at the same time.
Okay.
And some things just didn't make sense, and I would always question it. Right? I'm sometimes yet to get the correct answer back then. Right? So when I moved on to instruction, it seems as if that was really my forte, to continue to help and now to implement the things that were not being done then. So an instructor would say, "Oh, but you were not in the right position." And I say, "Okay, I was in the wrong position, but how do I get, what is the right position, or where's the right position, or how do I get there? When do I move?" I've never had that privilege of knowing. Now the
Ah.
referees can tell you, no pressure, okay, it means that you can scan because there is no pressure. Yes, the player looks up and there is no pressure, that ball is going to go along. Let's move to that drop zone. So when the ball
Right.
gets there, I am closer.
Ah.
Don't ball watch, they tell you, okay, when do I look, when I don't? They couldn't distinguish these things, and this is the privilege that these referees have now because we share all of this information with them,
Right.
and this is what we do on the pitch.
Right. Listening to you say that, back in the day, I guess it was delay your reaction and then try to move. Was that the kind of scenario?
Yes, but then you're always late because you're catching up.
Right. Right. Yes. Yes.
You're
Yes.
catching up.
Yeah. You're chasing the play. You're chasing everything.
That's correct.
Yeah.
You'd be
Yeah.
chasing like these guys right here, running
Ah.
over the fence.
Yes. But if you look at now, and I hear you, that it's all about the anticipation. You almost have to become the player that is receiving the ball, because you, like you say, you want to be as close as possible to that ball each time, even if it's kicked long. It's anticipation and understanding what's going to happen next. So getting to that, um, having the referees to understand that. What are some of the drills you do with them, to make them feel more comfortable in doing just that, in anticipation, in scanning, in looking to get to those spots as quickly as possible?
By doing, we have a simple drill called the transition box.
Okay.
Okay, which teaches you when to cross, when not to cross.
Ah.
Okay, that's why you see sometimes the referees get hit with the ball because
Yes.
there's a short pass and they're trying to go across, but that's not the time to cross.
Ah.
We have specific drills that we do, and it's quite a number of them. I just gave you a clue where if a player has possession of the ball and there is no pressure, no opponent around, that gives you an opportunity to look at the options that player has. Now, the player may have three options, but then two of those options, they are under close marking, and then there's an open space where there could be a runner. So maybe that is it. So then there is the reading, and then there's the anticipation and movement. So there are drills that help you to understand. When you see speed, it means you have to pay attention. You have to look for what
Yes.
may happen versus just watch like I'm watching a movie. No, you have to look
Right.
because this is what is required at that moment. So these are the clues, and there are tools that we use to help in the preparation for the field. Very, very, very important.
Well, yeah, I mean, we used to see a lot of times years ago where the referee would get hit with the ball, in close proximity. You still see it today, but not as much. And thanks for letting, informing about that, because a lot of people watch the game but don't understand what's going on in the game. they celebrate when a goal scored. But if you ask them, tell me the third pass that made that, help that to get to be a goal, they couldn't tell you because they're only focusing on. But when the referee blows the whistle, if it's against your team, you're upset, even if you know it's the right call, and if it's for your team, you're the happiest person, even if you know it's the wrong call. so it's the game is very intriguing. But helping the officials to be more confident in their call is something that I've watched for quite some time, and I've seen the vast improvement in small Bermuda that our officials are more confident now when they're making calls. Not saying they weren't confident back in the day, but I think with every bit of help they're getting, some of these officials have grown, and we've seen that now with on the FIFA list. But take us through one of your most memorable moments of officiating.
I would think everyone may think that this is a World Cup game, right? But this is not a World Cup game. It's a local derby match. A local derby match. And I always say, if you can referee in Jamaica in the derby games, you can referee anywhere in the world. Right?
Yeah.
And as such, it was a derby match, and I had to really send off a player from the home team in one of the inner cities.
Oh.
And that was it. I just had to do what I had to do, and I was fearless. Yeah, I was fearless about it. So it's important to in your own environment to be of strong character, because what you practice is what you have to preach outside.
Yes. I was actually just reading. Yeah. No, I'm still here. I'm still here. I was literally just reading today where the English referee, is it Mike Dean? Yeah, Mike Dean. He said he had made a call some years ago, and he had to send off a player. You muted your mic. It's still muted. Yeah, no, you turned your camera off. Yeah. It's the cross. See the cross going down the microphone? There you go.
I'm not hearing you.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Are you hearing me now? I hear you. No, it'll be your it wouldn't be your maybe your batteries died in your okay. He's dropped out. Mr. Williams, we're gonna bring Cranston Williams into the fold. Hopefully he's online, and we'll see if Mr. Pendergrass will reconnect here in a moment. Here he comes. Are you hearing me now? Can you hear me now?
I'm not sure what's happening with the sound.
Oh, turn the volume up on your phone.
I'm not sure what's happening with the sound.
Okay, let me send it.
I'm not hearing you at all.
Okay.
Let me go try it from my laptop in 2 minutes.
Okay.
Let's try that. Okay.
Sure. We're just going to give him a few minutes. We'll give him a few minutes to log back on. What we'll do is we'll throw in a commercial break. We'll be right back.
putting down the weapons.
You seeing this? This month, John Barrett & Son bring us a premium thirst quencher from North Carolina, the Blue Ultra Purified Water. Many other bottled waters use reverse osmosis to reach an acceptable level of purity. Le Bleu uses a 5-step purification process, which includes fractional vapor compression, distillation, and ozonation, assuring purity and a unique, appealing flavor. Consumer testimony repeatedly praises the taste of Le Bleu compared to the other brands, and this, along with superior purity, makes Le Bleu a must-try. Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends, and that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
Welcome back. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. Picking up where we left off, you were talking about the derby, but when you I was telling you that Mike Dean, English referee, he indicated that he had sent off a player, and fans threatened to burn down his house, and those type of things where a lot of people don't realize the immense pressure that an official's under to make a call. But you have, like you say, you have to be brave and make the call. It's the call that has to be made.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just giving them the tools to make sure that when they do make that call, they feel enough confidence in that. Just making those decisions. When we look at what's transpired over the years in coaching, in refereeing, how do you when you first heard of the VAR, what were your first impressions?
I didn't like the protocols. I still don't like some of the protocols. I understand the need for it. And as I said earlier, if you see it as a tool, just like the assistant referee can give information or the fourth official, then fine. But some of the protocols I still don't agree with because it limits the interaction of the referee and the VAR.
Now, of course, when you were officiating, you didn't have that particular tool. We just had the human tool. Now, looking at it, do you think it adds to the game? Well, I always make this reference with the technology used in cricket. It kind of makes the umpire just a little more relaxed in decision making because they know they have this backup system that can call the run out, call the LBW, call the courts, call all of that. Do you see that in football?
Yes, but I'm not particularly a fan of it. And I encourage referees not to work with the VAR in their minds. The VAR is a last resort. It should be. I want you not to depend on VAR, but RAV, and that's not the Toyota we're talking about.
Right.
I want the referee always to be viewing. And if you are always seeing, then you will be able to make the decisions without VAR.
Yeah.
So I flipped it around.
Sure. That's one positive way to look at it. There's been a vast improvement of a number of even the females, as we talked about females earlier, in the officiating spots. What do you think of the growth of that, especially in this region?
Great. it is a phenomenal stuff that has occurred, and it's because of the input by those member associations who have decided to take up the mandate to get the women up to speed. And in some cases, the women are outperforming the men.
Yes, yeah. Well, that's a clear example of that opportunity and the growth in which the women tend to learn a lot faster and stick to what has been taught. Where, you know, because some guys actually, or some men actually have played the sport, they think they can implement certain things in the game that they think that as a player they would have been allowed to do or get away with, kind of thing. Where, you know how the females follow those rules.
That's correct. They are more disciplined.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we're going to be joined by the head of refereeing in Bermuda, Mr. Cranston Williams. Mr. Williams, you know, speaking with Mr. Prendergrass here, I've learned quite a bit in a short space of time.
Yeah, Mr. Prendergrass, an expert. He's definitely one of the unsung heroes of the Caribbean. He's definitely an expert. I had the privilege of meeting him in person at the head of referees workshop in Miami. He had been to Bermuda before, but I wasn't involved with the PFA. And I do remember I said to him one day after his presentations, he definitely is all about excellence. So I have invited him out to return to Bermuda in the future. Now, whether or not he chooses to take up our offer remains to be seen, because he's a very busy gentleman, you know. So Bermuda might not be on his radar. You know what I mean? So we'll see.
He can make a pit stop. We can persuade him.
Bermuda is on my radar. Don't worry. Sooner than you think. Sooner than you think. But Cranston, I want to say to your face, congratulations for what you have done for refereeing in Bermuda over the last couple of years. I don't know that there's another member association that spends as much time and resources on refereeing and the wholesome picture of refereeing. And congratulations, you know, great job.
Thank you very much. Coming from you, I take that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you know, I'm the original bad boy, you know, so I only tell it like it is.
Oh,
that is the reality.
I know.
You know, Earl, if you want to know my philosophy, listen to Aaron Neville's Tell It Like It Is.
Okay.
Aaron Neville, Tell It Like It Is. Right?
Okay.
If you want to know about, that's me.
That's you?
That is me. If you need someone to play with, go find yourself a toy.
Oh.
Right?
Yep, friend is a sharpshooter. He doesn't mince his words. He's definitely a sharpshooter.
Well, I asked him earlier, how did he get involved, or why did he get involved in referee? Because he was challenged, he said, because he was mouthy. So clearly, you know, taking up the challenge, now he can then stand there and say, well, your turn, or somebody else come up, and let's do it. Let's move on. Let's move forward. You know, so Mr. Prendergrass, thank you very much for taking out this time, chatting with us. Mr. Williams, I appreciate you getting this gentleman, and hopefully we get an opportunity to see him in Bermuda to help improve our officials even more, because you can't stop learning.
No.
Learning is an everyday tool, and I think the more we get people like Mr. Prendergrass and others to come to the island and reassure our officials that they're moving in the right direction and there's still work to be done, then I think that's where we need to keep pushing and getting ourselves in a position that, as the president has put on you, Mr. Williams, a team of officials.
Yep. That's my cross right now with the team. We're working on it. We're definitely working on it.
Great. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. And I hope that in short order, we can have a face-to-face in helping Cranston to continue on this road of building top-class referees in Bermuda.
I would love that. When you come to Bermuda, we would definitely do that.
Thank you very much, Randy.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Okay. You too.
Thank you.